Starting out in your filmmaking journey, it's actually unsafe to go alone, so you might need this. Now, you might be wondering what this is. This actually is a bag that holds some of the filmmaking tools that I use on a regular basis. A Filmmaker EDC, if you would. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about a few tools that I bring with me every single day when I'm on set or when I'm working on my own passion projects. Now, this isn't going to include things like extra batteries or extra cables because those are a given, but some of these tools you might have forgot about, not heard of, or it's another way to actually carry them. But we'll get into it. Now, the first item that's going to be in this bag is actually going to be, well, another bag. Now, this is actually going to carry a bunch of cleaning supplies for my camera to make sure that everything's clean and operational. Now, VSGO did send me this bag quite a while ago, so I'm kind of sorry I haven't covered it just yet, but it does have some really interesting stuff. Now, not only is this case going to fit into my overall bag, but you're also going to get this blower right over here. Now, you guys usually are used to the little rubber blowers with a little nozzle at the bottom, but this guy's actually motorized. In fact, I could actually attach this guy onto the front, turn this battery on, and I can do this. And this does have other things as well. You have things like a lens pen, which you can actually clean the front of your lenses with. It also comes with different swabs and different wipes that you can use to make sure your camera is clean and everything works operational. And if you're someone that really wants to take care of your camera and to make sure that you don't get your fingerprints on it, you can do all of that with this pair of gloves. There's an OJ joke just waiting to be told, but I'm not gonna tell it. It kind of writes itself. Now, the next part of my Filmmaker EDC is actually, well, an EDC. Well, Condor Blues EDC multi-tool. Now, I did get this at the condo trip, which is actually a pretty interesting thing, but it does have all the bits in the tools that you need for most things you're gonna find in your camera rig. Things like having Allen keys that are gonna be in this compartment right over here, which makes a really satisfying sound and I can't stop doing it. But it does have things for different shapes of Allen keys that you can use to set up your camera rig. You also have a bunch of screw bits that are at the top with a flathead screwdriver and some Allen keys as well. And what's really cool is you can mount on the different bits that are on this multi-tool depending on your situation. If you want to do this horizontally, maybe because you have a little bit more force on here, you can put it right on the side. In fact, there's two holes that you can actually do that. Or you can put them on either of the opposite ends on this multi-tool in order for you to have a different solution to rig up your camera and not worry about bringing a bunch of Allen keys or separate multi-tools, as I do have 3 of them, but this one satisfies the majority of the things that I need. Now, it's also a really cool touch, and if you look at here, I'll see if I can get it in the camera. If you see that little silver thing on the right-hand side, that's actually a way where if you have small screws and you don't want them to fall out of your rig, that's actually magnetic. Now, with small screws, you could use the magnet on the end so you don't lose them while you're unfastening or refastening it to your camera rig. There's also another magnet on the side of this multi-tool as well, and that's where I carry this flathead screwdriver. Now, when I'm putting the base plate on my Red Komodo X to set up my rig, I need something that's a little bit longer than something that's on a multi-tool. And the fact that this is a magnet and this is actually completely made out of metal, once I attach it, this is all good to go, and it's a really small kit, but it also is incredibly useful. Now, this might not be used all the time, but it is incredibly handy, and it might be annoying if you don't have one of these in your kit. And this is going to be a color checker and a gray and reflective white card. Now, this one is by Calibrate. It is called the Color Checker Passport, but you're going to have a couple of things that are going to be very useful here. Now, I have done a couple of different videos of shooting multi-camera interviews, and I've also done one video matching cameras to all the new Sony cameras. And one thing that I did need in order to do that was going to be this color checker. Now, basically with this color checker, you're going to be able to match up the swatches that are on the color side in order for you to match up the colors that are going to be in camera, at least as best as you possibly can. So if you're in a multi-camera situation, you want to make sure you have a shot of all of these and you can mix and match your color grading in order to make sure that everything lines up. Now, on the flip side of this guy, you're also going to get a gray card and a reflective white card. In situations where it is controlled, but I want to get the most out of my camera, you might have to set your camera to certain zebra levels in order to expose for either middle gray or the reflective white side. Particularly when you're using things like Cine when you're first starting out, this might actually come in handy. And using this side in combination with something like your zebras on your camera might actually give you the accurate IRE values depending on the log profile or whatever color profile you're going to use on your camera. Also, if you're exposing cameras to the same IRE, it's easier to use a gray card by a little bit than having to guesstimate because certain cameras might have different exposures, especially when you're using lenses that don't use T-stops. Now, your memory is going to be the most important part of any shoot. It doesn't matter what camera, what lenses you're going to be using, what set you're on, where if you don't have a protection for your memory, it all doesn't matter because if you lose that stuff, it all kind of goes down the drain. And that's where the next thing I'm going to talk about that goes in my everyday kit is going to be the Polar Pro Slate 2. Now, this guy is actually incredible because it is is crush proof, it's super durable, it's weatherproof, and you have a bunch of different colors that you can get for the different memory that you're going to store. On top of that, you can also buy different inserts depending on the memory solutions that you have. What's really cool is also you have some customization. In fact, I actually got 3 of them. I got 3 of them from Polar Pro because, well, I have a 4th one that I got at Kondo, which is a specialty orange variant, but then again, all of these are great to protect your memory. And generally what I like to do is I keep a case for my Sony FX30, and I keep, well, one of these for my Red Komodo X. This is the cheapest thing that's going to be inside of this kit. And that's gonna be gaff tape. Now, I don't care who you are, I don't care what big sets you work on, I really don't care whoever the people, even if you're not a filmmaker, gaff tape is one of the most useful things that you're going to need, because you never know where you just need some gaff tape to attach things like duvetine to close off windows onto a wall, or we need to put something on your camera rig that might have broken off and you don't have any screws for it. Gaff tape is unique because it is strong, it does stick pretty well, but it also doesn't leave any residue, which actually makes this incredibly powerful and incredibly useful, and I always keep something like this in my bag. Now, if you want to go for something smaller, you can go with mini gaff tape, but just have gaff tape nonetheless. You never know when you're going to need it, and every time you do, it always comes in clutch. I don't know about you guys, but every time something bad happened to me, or I got sick, or I hurt my knee or something like that playing outside as a kid, my mom would always say it's because I'm on that damn phone, which is funny because I'm just gonna do everything on my iPad. Now, this is a 6th or 7th generation iPad mini, but I like having this as a professional production tool, especially on set while working with clients. Now, of course, you could always use things like your iPhone, and right now everybody's talking about iPhones, but what I do like to have is I like to have a designated device for when I'm on set to keep things like contracts and shot lists and my Millinote app that I use on here in order to help guide the set. Now, one thing I get roasted about quite often is the fact that I have incredibly poor cable management on my camera rig. Now, Mondo ties by Condor Blue have a 5/8 and a 1/4-20 thread configuration, so that way I could actually attach this onto my camera rig pretty easily, I can organize my cables, and I actually have a much cleaner setup. Not only does it look cool, but also it reduces the risk of accidentally pulling a cable out, and on the Red Komodo X, you really don't want to do that. Now, there is a variety of different colors that you can get in these Mondo ties, but they just released a brand new color that's also limited edition as well. Now, you can get the Phoenix Orange in the 1/4-20 thread and the 5/8 thread, and it's only going to be available for a limited time. Now, if you're someone that's into spooky season, or you actually want to match up with the Sony Alpha Orange because these guys are exactly the same color, you could attach this onto your rig for a cleaner setup, and you could stay color coordinated. Now, by limited edition, they're not playing around with the Phoenix Orange Mondo ties. Once they're gone, they're gone. There's nothing you can do about them, and if you want to get that particular color, because it does look kind of dope when you have an all-black camera cage, you might want to get one of these guys while you still can. Now, if you do want to check these guys out, the link is going to be down in the description down below, so you can check out these and the other colors of Mondo ties, and also other stuff that Condor Blue makes. They've been supporting the channel quite a bit, and a special shout out to them for sending me this, but let's get back into the video, talking about more stuff that you need in your Filmmaker EDC. Now, we all talk about having good visuals, but bad audio can ruin everything. We all could agree with that, but how do you actually monitor audio? It's kind of easy. You're just gonna have to use decent headphones. Now, I still don't know the model of these headphones. I'll probably put them on the screen, but these are headphones that could be wired or wireless. Now, I do have to wire these guys up because a lot of cameras don't have great Bluetooth connection as far as audio goes, but having a good set of Bluetooth headphones does go a long way, particularly when you're editing or you're doing dailies or you're monitoring your audio on a computer after a couple of takes, or when you want to bring headphones to the gym, because I'm not doing cardio if I don't have these. Now, that's the bag in its entirety, and for those of you guys that are nosy, you might want to know what bag this actually is. Now, I'm going to leave the brand name and a link for it in the description down below, but I just call this my Toronto Man side bag. And if you spent any time in the city, you will know there are some individuals that like to dress like Dragonite from the first Pokemon movie. But this bag is going to be a side satchel bag that holds all of the stuff that's going to be in my EDC. But also it has a couple of features that are really nice as well. Now, you are going to have multiple pockets that are going to go up into here to fit different things in it. You have a front zipper pocket as well. And also you're going to have something that's interesting. Now, on the side of this bag, you're actually going to have a USB port. And what I like to keep in this bag is this FX Line V-mount battery. It sounds kind of crazy, but follow me here. Inside of this bag, you actually have, if it would cooperate with me, you actually have a USB cord that's in here that I could plug into this V-mount battery and stuff into my bag. And if you don't see where I'm going with this, you actually have a USB port on the outside of this bag. That way I could connect a charger to it, for example, my iPad, and I could charge my iPad while this is on my back, or anything else that's battery powered that uses a USB connection in order to draw power from. Oh yeah, also, I'm not a doctor, this isn't medical advice, but I also keep some painkillers like an Aleve somewhere in my bag, because if you're shooting handheld for a while, your back hurts, and sometimes it sucks, and sometimes having pain relief is great. But I'm not a doctor, contact your physician before taking any sort of medication, but I do keep that on me in one of the side pockets just in case something goes wrong and I don't have any other remedy. Now, that being said, that's everything I keep in my Filmmaker EDC. Now, there are a couple of other things like different batteries or cables, but those are kind of things that are given, and if you have a certain camera, you probably have extra batteries anyway. But I do keep this guy on me, and I use pretty much the tools in there every single day. Now, there is one thing that I have not talked about, and it's gonna be the camera that I've used for my YouTube channel for the last year. And if you guys wanna see that setup, I definitely left the video somewhere on the screen. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.